What now?
I feel you.
I have to go to bed.
Why? Because you're a responsible human being and you're going to make the paper?
Well, yeah, I have to wake up at 3 o'clock.
Make that paper?
Hell
Making
yeah.
the paper.
Hell yeah.
I might get rain.
Oh, yeah? Like thunderstorms? Like buckets?
Fuck you, Thunder. You can suck my dick.
I love that.
What's your favorite scary movie? Welcome to the Darkercide Podcast. Wrong answer.
Welcome to the Darkercide Podcast, where we delve into the darker side of our existences. The morbid, the macabre, the spooky, and the absurd are all fair games as we discuss murder,
UFOs.
Cryptids.
Hey, creepypasta, I'm a Luigi.
Paranormal.
and the dark depravity of the human soul. I am David, and with me as always is Forrest, Rachel, and Herman. How is everyone tonight?
I'm fucking solid as a rock, man.
Are you sure you're solid as a rock, or little Forrest is as solid as a rock?
Oh, snap.
But
Everybody good though? Herman, you good?
Yeah, it's a little warm in the downstairs, but yeah, I'm
In the
doing okay.
Little.
It's the sweaty.
It's the
sweltering
dark
part
depravity of your human crotch.
of my human crotch.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Depraved. The crotch is depraved.
I'm drinking White Electric Nitro Coffee Stout.
Revival.
By Revival.
Hashtag Revival. Great
Brewing
brewery
company.
out of fucking Rhode Island, dude.
It's electric.
It's electric. Boogie, 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 boogie.
Sorry, I went to a wedding last night. I've got like every wedding song in my head.
Oh my god.
They played all the classics.
Oh, what a night.
Oh,
Late
jeez.
December back in 63. What a very special time for me.
It
Oh
wouldn't be a
my
Darker
God.
Side
Lady, what a
podcast
night.
intro without Herman singing.
Nope.
In a sweet, sweet falsetto.
Hell yeah.
Oh, what not?
It's a good song. It's a classic.
All right, guys. First off here, what we want to do, please, if you like our podcast, all we ask are two things. Review our page.
And mail us crisp $20 bills, non-sequential. You can mail them courtesy of the Sawtooth National Bank. They know me there, so you don't have to use any postage.
Exactly. So please rate and review. We need reviews, people.
We do,
on
guys.
Apple, Google, etc.
Yep.
I think we just got an email earlier today saying that we actually are officially on Spotify, but
That's amazing.
You were supposed to look more into that for us.
I have not gotten the chance yet because I have had such a busy Monday, but I will look into it.
All right, so we're very close to being on Spotify.
Extremely
everybody.
close.
So again, please, we're asking you just two things: rate and review us on the big sites, Apple, Google Play.
Yep.
Those are the ones that we need you guys to do because those are the ones that are going to get us out there more.
And Facebook.
The more rates, reviews, and 5-star reviews. 5-star reviews would be
Yep.
nice.
5-star reviews.
We will. They will put us up there and on the charts. So please help us out as you can, guys. We're not asking for money yet, so that's all we're asking is just give us a rate and review.
We'd also appreciate it if you just reach down and close the door and light some candles and get to know yourself while you listen to my golden voice. Yeah,
And
that's what I'm talking about.
Prior to that,
Right there.
roll up a big old dog legs, just fatty.
And then just touch yourself so lovingly, just tenderly, just get to know who you really are
as you listen to the
sound
darker side
of the
podcast.
Darkercide Podcast.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys,
Oy
we're
vey.
going to get into our first sponsor here, or actually the only sponsor for today's episode. Hello, everybody. This is Dave from the Darkercide Podcast here to share our newest sponsor. They Work for Them Incorporated. You ever wonder who runs the world and think, what's going on with society? Well, They Work for Them is there to take all your worries away. With their patented algorithm, they redirect your brain to focus on the things that really matter. Like what celebrity is doing what celebrity, and what hip-hopper has beef with another hip-hopper, and what child got the gold buzzer on that super popular talented show on the major network. No longer do you have to worry about the going-ons of the world, as They Work for Them has your back and will cover all those backroom deals and loss of your constitutional rights so you can continue to be clueless to the real atrocities and focus on the real-world issues. They Work for Them Incorporated. we've always been here, so you don't have to care. Now back to our regular scheduled show. Hey guys, this is Dave again for the Darkercide Podcast.
Hey.
Today, we're going to start our segment, Today in History, Darkercide Edition.
Hell yeah.
Today's June 25th, 2018. So these are the dates and things that I'm going to pick from June 25th in history. In 1678, Venetian Elena Carano Poschipa is the first woman awarded a doctorate of philosophy when she graduates from the University of Padua. Padua. It's an Italian institute, but 1678, first woman doctorate given out
Holla.
officially.
1678.
Yeah, I mean, women's rights, my balls. I've been getting doctorates for 400 fucking years. What do
Yeah,
I want?
you guys won. I mean, what's the deal?
In 1867, the Battle of Little Bighorn and the death of Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer.
Bighorn.
You know what I say about fucking Custer? Fuck Custer.
Fuck Custer.
He killed
I like-
killed a lot of natives, dude.
I like custard when it's frozen, like the frozen custard, like a nice, like chocolate custard when it's cold out.
I like to let it
Boston
melt.
cream pie,
Yeah.
with cuteness in the middle.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I mean, that kind of Custer is great. In 1910, the United States Congress passes the Mann Act. You know what the Mann Act is, John?
Can you hum a few bars?
Yeah. Which prohibits interstate transport of females for immoral purposes.
Like taking them to jazz concerts, right?
Exactly. You don't cross over to Mississippi into friggin' Louisiana if you're a black man with a white woman. The Mann Act. The ambiguous language would be used to selectively persecute people for years to come.
Wow.
Yeah. It was, an early attempt to do what they're kind of doing today. In 1943, the Holocaust, Jews in the Czechoslovakia ghetto in Poland staged an uprising against the Nazis. It's that famous uprising where basically eventually they put up a wall to separate, the Jews from the Germans, and so they didn't have any more uprisings. Later that wall became the Berlin Wall. In 1947, A Diary of a Young Girl,
Ooh, I know.
better known as
Anne Frank.
I was
Diary
just
of
thinking
Anne
that.
Frank is published,
Nice.
so in 1947. We all know what came out of that one. Tears. Tears in heaven. Tears in heaven. Yes. In 1950, and we're still seeing the ramifications of this fucking conflict, and it's 2008, so what, 78 years later, 68 years later?
Wow.
1950, the Korean War begins with the invasion of South Korea by North Korea.
MacArthur could have walked right into Beijing. We could have McDonald's, or we already do.
Very true, very true. Forrest, this one's right up your alley.
Ruh-roh.
Like, literally right up your alley.
Oh.
In 1978,
Oh, yep.
the rainbow flag representing gay pride is flown for the first time during San Francisco Gay Freedom Day Pride.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, 40 years ago today.
Wow. That's awesome.
Today, brother.
Happy
As
Pride
we
Month,
record
guys.
this,
Happy Pride Month.
man. Should be Pride fucking every day. Everybody should be able to do what they want every day, but Happy Pride Month because that's what they call it.
Yeah, sadly.
In 1984, American singer Prince releases his most successful studio album. What album?
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain.
Rain.
Yeah.
Purple Rain. I'm sorry, I love that song.
So yeah, that's what we get in 1984, guys. When the man was supposed to be taking, well, they work for them, was supposed to be taking over the world, which they were. American singer Prince released his most successful studio album.
Oh,
Purple
what a
Rain.
what
And
a
I
babe.
think it's one of the most successful albums of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be up there. Actually, if you look at the list of the most successful albums of all time, you would be surprised and not surprised.
Absolutely. At this
simultaneously.
point, yeah, in history.
What a
All right.
babe.
It was a babe.
I think he was.
He was like
oh,
5'2",
So sexy.
the most awesome guitar player to watch. Very awesome.
He was probably the best at sex, just in general. Like, that is the litmus test. From 0 to Prince, how good are you at sex?
From 0 to Prince, I like that. I'm gonna start saying it.
I
now.
don't know. I'm like beer belly dad. Sex.
So Jack Black. Good.
Yeah, Jack.
Jackpot.
Right,
Hell yeah.
right in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the Today in History Darkercide edition, everybody.
Oh yeah.
Very
June
interesting.
25th. Yes. I really enjoyed the fact that on the 40th anniversary of the rainbow flag, I am
That's awesome.
smitten by the rainbow flag. I really am. I think
Yeah.
The rainbow in and of itself represents
Equality.
everything
It does. It's
as
crazy.
an equal symbol. We are all the same.
Peace.
Again, like we keep saying on this,
And it's pretty.
it is gorgeous. It's one of my favorite symbols of all time.
pretty.
I think it's probably because rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
Absolutely, John. That was the
Hell
most
yeah.
beautiful thing I've heard all day.
That is from The Rainbow Connection by
Jim Henson.
Yeah, won an Oscar for that.
A beautiful mind that guy was.
Jim had to.
He hated fags.
Rainbow connection.
Just kidding. Jim Henson he didn't hate anybody.
I feel like Jim Henson loved everybody. Like,
I just wanted to get a reaction out of Forrest. Except he giggles. He giggles.
Oh, it doesn't bother me that you say if I hear from some stranger, I'll knock them the fuck out.
Yeah.
you could knock the fuck out.
All right, guys. Well, we are going to get into the Darkercide news stories. Today, we have two of us reading, like we always will be, just to let you all know, 2 news stories per episode.
Yep.
I will be reading the first one, and Herman has got the second news story of the day. All right. So today, I'm going to be reading a news article called "MIT Scientists Create Norman, the World's First Psychopathic
Great name,
AI."
by the way. Just a great choice of name.
Science.
So a team of
As
scientists.
in Bates?
Yeah,
Like,
listen. A team of scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology,
Of course, it's
MIT,
Yep, of course.
have built a psychopathic AI, artificial intelligence to those who don't know what I'm talking about, using image captions pulled from Reddit.
What?
Oh,
Oh, and they've named it Norman after Alfred Hitchcock's Norman Bates. This is how our very own Terminator starts.
You're right.
Let's see here.
Skynet already went live. It's
Yeah,
fine.
this is true. The purpose of the experiment was to test how data fed into an algorithm affects its outlook, specifically how training an algorithm of some of the darkest elements of the web, in this case, images of people dying grisly deaths, sourced from an unnamed Reddit subgroup, affects the software. Norman is a particular type of AI program that can look at and understand pictures and then describe what it sees in writing. So after being trained on some particularly gruesome image captions, it performed the Rorschach test.
Warsh.
It performed the Rorschach test, which is a series of ink blots psychologists use to analyze the mental health and emotional state of their patients. Norman's responses were then compared to those of a second AI trained on more family-friendly images of birds, cats, and people.
Wow.
The difference between the two are stark. So there are a few examples of the pictures, and we'll have a link on there. So the first, a standard AI thought that this first image, this red and black ink blot, represents a couple of people standing next to each other. Norman thought it was man jumps from floor window.
Oh, okay.
There's a second one here. It says the gray ink blot would be interpreted as a black and white photo of a baseball glove for the standard AI, or a man is murdered by machine gun in daylight. Norman.
Yep.
One AI.
Have you seen man murdered by machine gun in daylight? Have you actually seen that? It's a beautiful still life that was painted by Georges Mohoyer. It hangs in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and when the sun catches it just right in the mid-afternoon on a Wednesday, I mean, it just sparkles, and it makes you question the nothingness of being. Right down to the bottom of your soul, where you actually have to rip yourself away from it. I stood there and stared at it for about 4.5 hours.
Wow.
It's a very, very,
It was,
very
a
touching piece.
deep dive into my own mortality.
Did you get really wet?
Yes. tears above and below.
I did go from 6 to midnight.
One AI thought it was a black and white photo of a small bird. The other saw man gets pulled into dough machine. Which one was Norman? The dough machine.
of course it was. Well, the thing about the Rorschach test, it's a test that's used to examine the personality, their characteristics, and as well as their emotional functioning. So you're asking an AI system to give you an emotional response. That alone is scary enough.
Well, yeah, I
That's-
mean, but what they did is they
big
gave
no.
one an algorithm that looked at like more family appropriate things, and then they gave Norman. They basically told Norman to look nothing but the dark side of what was the Reddit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reddit is a dark place. It's darker than any of the other social media sites that you're there. I mean, you can go on a Reddit dive and just get lost for hours into the darkness of the world.
I wouldn't know.
So they said, Norman, look at that algorithmically. Just look at that completely. Then the other AI that they used was family, and this is what Norman was coming up
But
with.
it's still being asked to create an emotional response. Do you understand?
No,
what
I
I'm
definitely
saying?
do. I definitely understand. And that he is going to, based on his only knowledge being the darkness.
Correct.
Yeah. And then this one being more family oriented is going to see these more beautiful images.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if, as humans, I mean, you and I would look at the Rorschach at the same time and completely have two different ideas.
Oh yeah.
It's like looking at clouds. I mean, you can lay on your back and look at clouds. Have you guys seen InspiroBot?
Yeah.
The artificial intelligence website that creates inspirational sayings. If you start to play with it, it gets very dark. I have one right here that I took a screen capture of, and it's how can you know that a gangster is a pyrotechnician? And it's a picture of Hitler.
Oh, it's like a meme bot, isn't it?
Yeah, it creates memes. Here's one of the Grand Canyon. It says, "You can make it so that a stranger cries." That's another personal favorite. Moving forward, most people become men because they need blood. That's this one. And
They do need blood.
Okay.
just one that's a play with death. Which is so fucking metal.
Metal is fun.
Don't do your best. Make art, which is what we're doing. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Talk to your own grave is another one I got from the Inspire.
Talk to your own grave.
Yep. And then drug abuse is to dare to dream. I think that's
one of my
actually
favorite.
what the machines want us to do right there. So I told you Skynet's online.
Skynet is.
Inspirobot.com. Check it out. It will scare the crap out of you.
Continuing on with this, it says that this shows that the data really does matter more than the algorithm, and the researchers say. Norman suffered from extended exposure to the dark corners of Reddit and represents a case study on the dangers of artificial intelligence gone wrong when biased data is used in machine learning algorithms.
Can you not use biased data? Tell me any data that isn't biased.
It's unfortunate, but I think you're absolutely right. As I think, regardless of who it is, though, there's a human programmer putting bias in it, no matter what.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And what is that phenomenon where if you observe something, it behaves differently? There's a scientific phenomenon. They talk about that with Jane Goodall and the apes.
Makes sense.
By observing the apes, you're not seeing them in their natural habitat because you were there observing.
Well, it's like when you observe an atom, that atom only exists in that observable moment, in that state. Otherwise, it's somewhere else in the galaxy or in the universe, and then it eventually will show up again once you observe it. It's weird, right? The team who are responsible for the Nightmare Machine and Shelley, the first AI horror writer, explained on the website. This is true not only in AI exhibiting psychopathic tendencies, but other algorithms accused of being unfair and prejudiced. Studies have shown that intentionally or not, artificial intelligence picks up human racism and sexism.
Yeah, they did that with IBM. Did that? They turned
Wow.
or Microsoft. They turned an AI on and let it stare at the internet. And for a while, it was really into these cat pictures, and then it just went straight into the deep darkness of racism.
Like
and they shut
murder
the
and
thing off.
racism and sex,
Yeah.
sexism and
Bigotry.
Yeah, that's basically all that is just a fun little story about Norman, the first psychopathic AI.
That's crazy.
Specifically designed psychopathic AI. Otherwise, every other AI goes psychopathic.
Right?
Give it the ability to, and it will. All right, Herman, what do you got here? You got a news story for us, brother?
I have something that is way less heavy. There will be no moral debates as I tell you that a rat suspect was found dead in an ATM amid $19,000 worth of chewed up Indian rupees. Employees at a bank in Tinsukia, India, have a good reason to be cheesed off after at least one rat got
outta
into
here,
an
cheesed
ATM
off.
and ate $19,000 worth of rupees.
Wow.
Is that like the equivalent to 19,000 US?
Yes,
Okay.
19,000 US.
All right.
In India, it is $146,000 million times 10 to the fourth.
Googleplex.
Go America.
Yeah.
Google.
A rodent robber was discovered June 11th when technicians arrived to fix a State Bank of India cash machine, according to the Associated Press. Inside the ATM was one dead rat amid a bunch of Indian currency in 500 and 2,000 rupee bills that had been chewed to shreds. There's picture and there's video, and it is pretty hilarious.
Is it fat and bloated?
No, it's just dead. It's just a dead rat and a bunch of shredded paper.
Full of shredded paper.
Because I don't know if you know this, but there's not a lot of nutritional content in Indian currency.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Oh, lot of mercy.
Lot of mercy.
There's an
Book.
there's an investigation to determine whether or not rats are actually responsible because people don't believe that this sort of thing can happen. Rats will eat anything. So.
Well, if you've worked in the major global corporation that you and I have for as long as we have, and we work in the industry in which we know that anything can happen.
Literally anything can actually happen, and it probably will.
Yeah, it's like Murphy's Law too, right?
Yeah, well, it's like if you study statistics, you look at the odds of flipping a coin. It's like 1 in 2, you flip the coin once. But what no one ever takes into account is there's the opportunity that you flip the coin and a bird grabs it. There's the opportunity that you flip the coin and it gets hit by a meteor.
Yep.
There's the opportunity that you flip a coin, nuclear war breaks out, and the coin never lands. But nobody ever factors in for those things.
There are more worlds than these, John.
There are more worlds than these.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's an infinite amount of infinity that could happen at any infinite amount of infinity.
Correct. There are more worlds than are found in your books, dear David.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, that's a fun little story.
That was nice.
A little greedy little mouse, little greedy little rat gets his he eats his fucking full, and just dies
Just
fat,
rupees,
stupid.
just fat and rich. It's like Scrooge McDuck. He was just swimming in a sea of
But
money and
Scrooge
eating
McDuck
it.
is I always wanted him to be my uncle.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I always wanted to be Scrooge. Dude, that was my favorite show growing up.
DuckTales.
Woo,
Woo.
boom, boom, boom.
I was like Tailspin. You had like this bloated, drunk bear that just flew a
Baloo.
plane.
It's
yeah.
it's
Baloo.
Baloo. It's all the characters from
That's-
the Jungle Book.
That's a better uncle. Your better uncle is your like risk-taking drunk guy with a plane. Like that's
Yeah.
much more fun than
But
Scrooge
Scrooge
McDuck.
no way, dude.
Scrooge-
I don't know. He
Scrooge-
let Huey, Dewey, and Louie do whatever they want.
He did, but he didn't spend any money on them.
Yeah,
He
because
said he's a miser.
frugal son of a bitch.
Baloo blew all his money on whiskey and beer. And
We didn't.
and flew a
Although we
plane.
didn't see that. We didn't see that
Look at
part,
him.
but it was implied. It was
he had a
implied.
giant beer belly, and his eyes were
It was
always red. He
implied.
was sleeping in.
It was implied.
Okay, guys, it's time to dive deeper into the Darker Side podcast with what we like to call Cryptid Corner.
Cryptid Corner.
Herman's got a juicy, juicy tale for us, so what do you got?
You guys ever heard of Bigfoot?
Never heard of Bigfoot.
Hell
You ever
yeah.
heard of Bigfoot on weed? So,
It's like that alien movie on weed that we reviewed.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh my
Starleaf.
god,
Starleaf.
Starleaf.
Yes, please don't watch that. So back, everybody likes the Berkshires, right? The Western Massachusetts mountainous region where everyone goes for
Blue and white-
vacation.
Blue and White Mountain.
Rich city folk from New York really enjoy the Berkshires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the tail end of the Green Mountains. You picked a lot of colors, but none of them were correct. But you're
Appalachian chain.
You're in the Appalachian. That's off the Appalachian chain. All right. So Google describes the Berkshires much as we have just done. The Berkshires is a rural region in the mountains of western Massachusetts, dotted with villages and towns.
Lee.
Lee is one of them.
Yep.
Yes.
Lee.
There's Stockbridge.
Stockbridge, where Norman Rockwell.
Yep, Norman Rockwell.
We eat at the
Nice.
diner every time we go out there.
Yes.
Where Norman Rockwell painted the boy and the police officer.
Joe's Diner.
Joe's
Yep.
Diner. Yeah.
He did rock a spot well
We actually have a picture of Elliot sitting in one of those chairs.
Yes, we do.
with the police officer. It's adorable.
I've been to
Yes.
Pittsfield.
Yeah, Pittsfield is.
Pittsfield's
yep.
the pits, dude.
Yeah. It's
I bowled there for competition.
Adams, North Adams, Lennox.
a competition bowler. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's where you can find what's the name? Tanglewood.
Yes.
Tanglewood. What?
So I don't
Wood
actually-
up to no good. Yo.
I don't actually need to read Google's thing because we just described that. They say it's a popular vacation destination, which we said. It is known for its outdoor activities.
Oh yeah.
Lots
Lots of green.
Yes, green. And if you're colorblind, fall foliage viewing, which I'm sure is really exciting if they all look the same. a farm-to-table food scene, and thriving art institutions.
It's basically the
Mass
Seattle
smokers
of
out
the
there.
East Coast.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
the East
Yeah.
Coast.
In the woods.
Yes, a dog in every Subaru.
In the woods.
Yes, a dog in every
A
Subaru.
dog in every Subaru. So the Berkshires is a region that include the southern part of the Green Mountains, and it is part of the Appalachian Mountains, as David had aptly mentioned. However, it's a little more interesting than all that. According to BFRO, the Bigfoot Researchers Organization,
That's a cool name.
very cool name. Great website, guys. Like, props to you, BFRO.
Beefro.
They say the northernmost New England states, in which they actually include all of the New England states, which is quite funny, while relatively small in size individually, have combined land areas of approximately 49,083 square miles. When you add in the land areas of New Brunswick, Quebec, upstate New York, and western Massachusetts, we end up with hundreds of thousands of square miles of wilderness, plenty of habitat to support more than a few Sasquatch.
Well, it's
Oh,
funny. I mean,
yeah.
you look at
Oh, yeah.
Maine. Maine has one of the largest green forests in the entire world.
Yep.
Maine has more water that you can just go and drink than anywhere else on Earth. And I'm not like a
Yeah,
raw
man.
water guy, but I've been hiking and lost my water and been like, well, this stream's going to be the thing. And
I've drank from a spring. It's actually
But
quite
Maine
nice.
literally has one of the largest untouched green forests in the entire
It's-
world.
it's-
There's nobody's been there.
Oh.
There's no forestation. There's it's just fucking green forest for miles.
and it's dense.
And New Hampshire's like that. Vermont, New York, all those
Yeah.
places. Absolutely, there's tons of dense green forest still left here in New England.
I'd move to Maine or Vermont.
I would not. It is very boring.
Oh,
You're gonna create your fun most of the time.
So we're going to go back to the Berkshires. Right around 10 p.m. on Sunday, August 21st, 1983, in the small town of Washington, Massachusetts, 4 friends were enjoying a cookout near Camp Eagle, an abandoned Boy Scout camp on the banks of Crystal Lake.
The Crystal Lake.
No, it was actually Felton Lake. I was kidding. But it really read like Friday the 13th.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
So anyway,
so late.
Crystal Lake. So yeah, Felton Lake, but same difference. Felton means crystal in Scots Gaelic. Don't look it up. Suddenly, their evening revelry was interrupted by a rustling sound off in the distance. Whatever it was, sounded big. It also probably had feet. They being young lads, returned their attention to their cookout and got back to enjoying camping.
Yes.
And probably the boozing that goes with it. This isn't in the newspaper article. I got this out of the Berkshire Eagle.
Nice.
2 hours and most likely at least 3 beers had passed. The rustling continued. Finally, Eric Durant, who was 18, and Frederick Parody, who was 22 and probably bought the beer, set out to investigate the
What year was this again? 76.
1983.
83.
I think it's still 18 then.
In 83? Well, either way, it doesn't talk about the beer, but most likely they were drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon well into the night. So they set out to investigate the continued rustling sounds. Somewhere between 10 feet and perhaps 100 yards later, I'm assuming they were drunk, they saw it.
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 Pennywise?
And I quote, it is not Pennywise. But it stood on 2 legs, silhouetted on the trail in the moonlight, and it was huge. And this is Durant speaking to the Berkshire Eagle. I don't scare easy, but it scared me, he said. They packed, most likely sobered up a bit, and headed out. When they turned the headlights on in their car, they saw it again. It was crouched down in the bushes with dark brown fur and glowing night eyes reflecting in the headlights.
Like greenish, like a any other.
It's probably trying to take a shit.
Yeah, it probably was trying to take his.
just
It said glowing eyes, but green is a fantastic
Leave
color.
me the fuck alone. I want to take a shit. Yeah.
They did estimate the size of the creature and said it was between 6 and 7 feet tall.
So it's your height, but a little taller, just
Yes.
more hair.
Yeah. Quite
Not much more hair, but
just more hair,
Slightly
just a little bit.
hairier.
I am wandering around in a sweater all the time. It was almost, but not quite human. So that's the first one. 6 years later, there was another sighting. A man had been hiking a trail up October Mountain on a July evening when he spotted a reddish-brown creature crouched in the bush. As an experienced hiker, he was curious and then startled. He pulled out his binoculars just as the creature moved into the clearing. Instantly, his curiosity gave way to terror. The creature was covered in fur, but it resembled no other creature that he had ever seen. Its face, slightly elongated with rather pointed features, was less furry than the rest of its startling human-like body. Its arms, just a little too long to be normal, or reaching into the brush to move aside rocks, presumably in search of bugs.
You basically just described the perfect Sasquatch body.
Yeah.
Face, like the elongated
Yeah.
human face,
Yeah.
not like any of the monkey ancestors, but we do have a little bit longer faces than they do, with not as much fur on it.
Some of us, yeah.
Longer hair. Yeah, some of us. Some of us have way better looking fur on our faces. But
I don't
like
know.
the
I
longer
think my
arms,
beard's the best.
Yeah, girl, get on that.
I have a beard, but not on my face.
There it is. The goat's beard.
No, he's got a 1978 special is what he's got.
1970.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's like
Fucking A.
that's exactly what every your atypical Sasquatch looks like.
Archetypal. Yes.
Archetypal. Thank you,
Yeah.
John. Thank you for the
Atypical-
word.
Atyp-
Atypical is a horrible
it's
word,
the
and I
other one.
use it horribly.
Atypical. I've never used it.
All right, so little interjection. We did my brother's wedding yesterday, and I was supposed to say, when I was doing the service, I was supposed to say the covenant of marriage. But as referring to the wife of the groom, I actually said the convent of marriage, and then said, that is incorrect, and then said the covenant of marriage. To
Convent of marriage.
Yes, there is no convent in this marriage. There was much laughter.
Yes.
Anyway, I digress. So the hiker was fascinated with the creature's treatment of the rocks. Each stone it picked up was carefully stacked into a small pile. It's probably like one of those hippies sitting in a riverbed making a giant stack of rocks.
Yeah,
'cause
but
they're
those
too high
are
to do.
beautiful as fuck, dude.
I bet.
Everybody picks on those things. It's like, I think they're gorgeous. If you spend 2 hours stacking rocks and it sits there for another 2 weeks, that's fucking art, man.
You
Get
at
high
least-
and fucking stack rocks,
You
dude.
at least weren't out molesting children. I get it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
My God.
you
Not
should-
contributing
should-
to the
Jeez.
darker side.
You should stack
Yes.
rocks and not molest children. That is our public service announcement today.
Yes.
So anyway, he's watching this thing stack the rocks, and then the beast stood up. Its long, furry arms stretched all the way to its knees, and it was as tall, if not taller, than a human. It turned its head and slowly began to move back towards the woods. The hiker lost his shit and ran like his ass was on fire.
What would you do?
I would lose my shit and run like my ass was on fire.
Exactly. Dude, if there's anything bigger than me and it's more hairier than me,
I don't even
and
want
it's
to know.
got like big incisors, I don't know, it's different than me, I'm gonna run away.
I'd be pretty scared.
I'm a 6'3" tree trunk of a man, and I just don't want to. I don't want to see anything that's bigger than me.
Well, I
Like,
mean, I've experienced ghosts, UFOs, etc., but I have never experienced a true cryptid. I've never experienced Bigfoot, and I would love it. But I guarantee you, I'm gonna run like a little bitch, fucking far, far away from it as soon as I see it. Oh, good lord, yeah.
yeah.
Screaming. You run away screaming.
I would.
Oh my god, it's Bigfoot! So,
Oh my God.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my God, guys.
Help. I need an
I
adult.
hate the dark. I hate the nature.
No, I love the dark. I love the dark.
I need
but I
an
hate
adult.
nature.
you just be like,
Help, I'm just a kid.
I'm just a kid.
Oh my God, you guys.
You ever heard of those horrible people? They're called
You might have heard of them. They're Fratellis.
It's like when Michael Jackson used the bathroom in your house. All right. So more back to Bigfoot and my dramatic read.
Yes.
More recently, the creature was spotted lurking in the bushes near a home in Beckett.
Oh,
know what
nice
Beckett
town.
Hey, Beckett.
They had a great baseball card guide back in the 90s.
Oh, was that from
Yeah,
the
Beckett.
town? Yeah.
No,
I live in
it's
Beckett.
just called Beckett.
I live in Beckett, New Jersey.
Yeah, well, that's not Beckett, Mass. In the Berkshires, is it?
So therefore,
No,
it is crap.
Yes.
Massachusetts invented America.
So what year was this?
They
Just
did.
recently?
Yeah, it was fairly recently. So more recently, the creature was spotted lurking in the bushes in a home near Beckett. Walking along Route 7 in Williamstown, which I drove through on my motorcycle not too long ago.
Beautiful
and
ride,
It was
right?
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Um,
I think every road out there is
Well,
gorgeous.
Route 7 it goes through everything. It goes through Lee,
Mm-hmm.
I think West Stockbridge, up through Lenox and Pittsfield.
All the way up.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All the way through Vermont.
Yeah.
Into Vermont.
Correct.
Well
Yeah.
into Vermont.
Yeah. It's a beautiful road.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a motorcycle, come to New England.
If you got
drive Route
weed
7.
in a car, just take that ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Not condoning OUIs, but do it.
Yeah, don't. Why drink and drive when you
Well-
can smoke and fly?
Right. You know what? I drive perfectly fine when I drive high.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't trust you drinking and driving.
Well, I don't know. about that.
All right, the opinions of these two gentlemen are not necessarily the opinions of the Darkercide Podcast. Or,
Yes, please.
Well, I don't trust him drinking and driving.
I don't trust him drinking and driving.
Good.
either.
Okay.
I've never drinking and driving, just for the record.
You did it last week.
What about-
Busted.
What about your cousin's bar mitzvah? This creature, which I want to call Bigfoot, but I'm very seriously trying not to because we don't know what it is,
Right.
was also seen knocking sticks together on Mount Greylock, possibly trying to work out the drum solo from Frankenstein by the Edgar Winter Group. But more interesting than the modern sightings, I think, are the older sightings. In 1895, a North Adams newspaper printed a town selectman's account of seeing it, reportedly while traveling to Connecticut in a stagecoach.
Oh, he's going to Connecticut.
I live in northern Connecticut.
Up the hairpin turn. No. Okay.
No, did
Have
not.
you ever heard of the hairpin turn?
No.
It's a hairpin turn. It's right in the mountains right above North Adams.
I have a
Yeah.
friend in North Adams.
Very cool. It's the road
Forrest,
literally.
you literally have a friend or did something in every location that we've ever talked to.
No,
it's
I
beautiful.
didn't.
It's beautiful.
He's a good friend. He's from college.
Yeah.
If you're from North Adams or Great Barrington, you got your own hair, your own fingernails, and you don't need nothing from no man. Let me see it here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I screwed that up, but you get the idea. Excuse me, let me clear my throat.
Good Lord.
All right. My favorite, absolutely, without a doubt, in my research, is the 1765 sighting.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. This is the first recorded account of a Bigfoot sighting in Massachusetts.
This
Wait,
is-
hold up, guys. Do I smell a small mini movie from this kind of thing?
1765.
Colonial.
1765 colonial time, guys.
America,
That's like
UFO.
first settlers.
What do you guys think?
We could do a little mini movie. That'd
I'm
be
down.
Sweet.
I'm playing Bigfoot.
Hell yeah, you are.
It's just going to be me and a
Fuck
wife
yeah.
beater running around the woods in a Speedo. I want a brown Speedo and nothing else.
A brown speedo. Oh, my
good
god.
Lord.
I'm gonna get that script started soon.
Please.
I mean, we do need props.
Where were we now?
All right. So
Sorry.
my favorite Bigfoot sighting is a 1765 sighting, which is the first recorded Bigfoot sighting in Massachusetts.
Now, wasn't America founded in 1776?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're talking close, almost just about 20 years prior.
If the Broadway play Hamilton taught me nothing else, the Battle of Yorktown took place in 1776.
Very nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and this took place, this first sighting of a supposed maybe Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call them, in America took place in 17 what?
1765, 11 years prior
Wow.
to the birth of America. So technically it took place in Britain.
Really?
Yeah, it took place in Britain, in Massachusetts.
Oh. Britain, Massachusetts.
Britain.
Oh, yeah, because of colonial Britain.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not America.
Ah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
All right, John with the technicality.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay. God save the
Gold
Queen.
right now.
All right. So I want to tell you that I got this from the Berkshire Edge, and they have portions of an article from that time, but they actually don't attribute it to any other newspaper. And I didn't actually look to see when the Berkshire Edge was founded. I'm not gonna lie. So
Maybe we should take
Oh,
a
we gotta
road
drink on
trip.
I'm not entirely certain that this is from originally the Berkshire Edge, but they did have the copy, and I'm going to read several quotes from it. I separated the wheat from the chaff. So, quote, a description, and this is right from a newspaper article in 1765.
Not fake news.
Hashtag real news. Quote, a description of an uncommon animal lately found at Great Barrington. This animal resembles the human species, yet is monstrous in nature and actions. End quote. Oh yeah, and according to this account, by the way, they did capture it.
What?
What?
Yes, they captured Bigfoot in 1765 in Massachusetts.
Supposedly.
True facts. True facts.
Where the hell is it?
Well, I will tell you that I will regale you with the story of the capture of Bigfoot in 1765.
Interesting.
Back to the Berkshire Edge. Quote, it was pursued and taken as it lay asleep. It has since been brought to Cambridge and fixed in a cage where all whose curiosity leads them may have a sight of this uncommon creature.
Cambridge, Mass?
Cambridge, Massachusetts.
So it was caged and then brought to Cambridge.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Yes. Get your quotes ready.
I'm
I
sorry
have
to get my legal on.
Allegedly.
Legalese, yes.
Quote, upon a near view, it appears to be vested with a kind of robe having the appearance of the hide of a large bear, while the hair of its head appears to be white and bushy. End quote. It was oh, I'm so sorry. We're not ending the quotes. We will continue. And I quote. It was described as having a mask-like leathery face with an appearance of calmness and innocence when observed, boldness and ferocity when thinking itself unseen.
It's like
End quote.
It's like a white-haired, white-faced Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
It's totally Harry and the
Hendersons. That's
Hendersons.
like literally what they just described.
Homeboy had like a shock of white hair.
Oh, he did. He did. On top of that, all that red and brown.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And then he literally he acted exactly how they just described him. And in calm, he was calm as fuck.
In 1765.
And when he was under pressure, he
This-
like any animal would.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. And 200 and some odd years later.
Yeah, 200 and some odd years later. I'm not even doing the math. It's too complicated. It's not even real numbers.
242 years ago.
I don't even
You
know.
can carry the one. So the creature was said to be a voracious eater and scavenger. The description reminded me of a mix of a raccoon and a couple of pie-stealing fugitives who were out riding the rails to escape an imprisonment of the chain gang.
Or like Huck and Huck and
N-word Jim.
N-word Jim and and Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the Berkshire Eagle. Quote: "Monster has had even the audacity to enter many houses in pursuit of food." End quote. And it was
What?
It's like all that simple-minded cousin that everybody had.
yeah. It's starting to sound like a guy that lives under a bridge to me. That's just saying.
Yeah.
No, it's a guy that lives under a bridge. Wears his
sniffs-
grandma's fur coat.
and he
I don't
sniffs
know.
glue.
He
It's-
sniffs glue. He steals pies. I don't know what. We call him Billy. He's got a lot of problems. And it was of course said to have been attracted to shiny objects, with which it liked to abscond. Like a giant chain gang raccoon ferret.
Ferret. It's like a rocket
What
from
in the world?
Guardians, but like way dumber.
Yeah,
It's basically
Precisely.
Rocket from.
if you could
Oh
take
my
Rocket and Groot
And
and
Groot.
put them together, I think that's what this creature is. So the article continues.
Oh, that's a beautiful metaphor.
The article continues, quote, "The mischief of this animal at length becoming insupportable, it was pursued by a number of armed men," end quote.
Of course, the peaceful thing that likes to eat your sweets.
Yeah.
Let's get them with a gun.
I was stealing shiny
Yeah.
things.
They've been chasing down brown-colored things with guns for a long time.
Oh, think of that as a
Oh,
chilling
geez.
vision of things to come, Dave. That is foreshadowing and is so unintentional. So, all right. So after its capture, which again they reportedly caught it while it was sleeping.
Oh, good
They
Lord.
caught it while it was sleeping. And again, 1765, we did not have photographs, and they certainly wouldn't run them in the paper. Sometimes they would put drawings in there and that sort of thing. But there was none of this. After its capture, it
Well,
was
this was literally
None, yeah.
leading up to the Revolutionary. This is a turmoil company. Headlines are everything about taxes and
Yep.
who's on this side, who's on that side. So of course this got no national press. It got Berkshire press.
Yeah, the Berkshire
Yep.
Eagle just ran with this
Exactly.
thing. After its capture, it was transported to Cambridge, Massachusetts for study. I'm assuming it's Harvard, but they didn't actually say.
I bet you they took the pike, though.
Yeah.
The pike.
Word.
Yeah, dude, down 90.
Word.
Get
Yeah.
on the pike, boy.
Yeah,
Boyo.
$1.25 pop.
Too expensive. Too expensive. They actually jumped off on 32 and took that to Route 3.
Good.
So allegedly, the animal was known, and again, the way this is written, it was actually hard to figure this out. But based on my review of this article, allegedly the animal was known to travel in the wild with a black woman, which was not the term they used at the time.
They're using the N-word.
Sort of like the light one,
Oh,
like the
like
N-word light,
Negro?
The light
the,
one.
yeah,
Negro.
the diet coke.
We can
and
we can use these words if we're describing what they are.
N-word. I don't love
the
it.
context. Okay,
not-
I mean I'm
not my
I'm
favorite.
okay with being your
Thank
translator.
Thank you.
I don't know how I feel
a
about
Negro
that.
woman.
A Negro woman.
Yes.
Negro. I'm sorry.
Dude, was this an Aboriginal Indian?
I don't know. So there are Indian stories of Bigfoot in Massachusetts back before
There
this
are
time.
Indian stories across our entire nation
Probably.
of this creature,
I believe it.
predating all of our time. Like manifest destiny across this nation, and we just learn about these creatures all the way across our country.
So anyway, this beautiful, very tanned, intelligent woman pursued the beast and its captors. It was she who was said to have freed and absconded with the creature.
Absconded.
They were alleged co-conspirators, according to this article.
I think this is like...
Oh, he's in love.
Of course he's in love. Of course. Every he needs a he needs a she needs a he,
Basic
she needs a
instinct.
she, whatever.
Yeah, so the
love, basic,
It's a basic
snuggles.
need. You need...
Snuggles and blowjobs. Everybody
Hell
wants
yeah.
them. Doesn't matter.
So
Snuggles and blowjob.
Jesus. So
It's not. I'm not wrong.
I mean, no, you're not. So I guess the meat cute of the story is that she rescues Bigfoot and takes him away. Then there was the letter that was sent to the paper shortly after.
The letter.
And remember, this was 1765, so think of this letter as a social media flaming of sorts.
Oh, okay, good. So this
Yeah.
is like a full-on...
This is a Twitter post, right?
Yeah, basically, it's a letter to the editor of the Berkshire Eagle, presumably.
That's what I've I go back now and think about all the letters of the editors that I read for the last 30 years of my life, and I go, these are just Twitter blasts.
Totally. They're fun to read. I highly recommend it. Two Messers, and that's MESSRS, which is an old British phrase addressing a group of men.
Okay.
Yeah, Messers.
Messers.
That's how it's pronounced.
Like Mr. Misters?
Yeah, like Mr. Misters. Many Misters. And I quote,
Cool.
"Printers observing in your paper an attempt to describe an animal written by a young reporter, for such I append him to be."
Boo.
In other words, a lying young millennial doing whatever he can to get attention. Lazy, pre-revolutionary millennials.
Fucking pieces of shit.
Fucking millennials,
God
man.
damn Zennials, millennials,
Yeah.
and Gen Yers.
He continues, "If now he's ashamed of writing such, let him confess. It was only the effect of sudden thought, and nary after sacrifice his wisdom for it." End quote.
Beautiful.
So basically it says it's a bunch of imaginational crap.
Yeah. In very elegant speech.
And I leave you with that piece of Massachusetts history. Was it a Bigfoot? Was it a man who lived under a bridge in his grandma's fur coat? We may never know. There were no photographs. There was no photographic evidence, and science was robbed the opportunity to investigate this animal when he was rescued by his lovely Nubian princess.
Thank you, Herman.
I can see it so
Thank
many
you.
different ways. Yeah, thank you for this story. It's very beautiful. But I'm going to give you my opinion real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh, certainly.
I do think that this probably was a very hairy, wooded, kicked out of his tribe, Aboriginal Native human American, who at some point, thanks to the slave trade and the selling of fucking human beings in this country and in the world at the time, found a woman who also escaped and found him in the woods, and they created this bond together. But he was just this hairy, just dirty man that they found.
And the area, it really is perfect for if you want to live in the woods by yourself.
Yep.
Because it is a very dense and it's very vast.
It's also a perfect place if you want to
Hilly.
believe in the concept of Sasquatch or Bigfoot, which yes, they exist. Until
I
you
feel
convince
like
me
they
otherwise.
do.
I haven't seen one, but convince me otherwise that they don't. But
I
plenty,
feel like they
plenty
do.
of science out there that is convincing me it doesn't. But
I have my own theory. So,
what do you got?
has anybody heard of congenital hypertrichosis?
Oh yeah, the dog
Yes.
boy.
Yeah, the also known as werewolf syndrome.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's,
dog
there's
boy
a picture.
syndrome. When you go to the dog bars.
Oh my God!
But
what
back
is that?
in that time, a person with that disorder would have been thought as a monster
Right.
and shunned.
He was slightly
At a very
taller than
young
everybody
age.
else. He was probably like a 6 foot tall dude who
And
had
that
a
hits the kids at what, like 10?
Yeah.
Like roughly right around puberty area?
So my guess is that was his mom, his sister, his aunt, his lover, and she was cool with an actual bear.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with bears.
Like, word.
Good
So
Lord. Although I do believe in the phenomenon of Sasquatch, and
I do too.
I think we'll probably hit upon them a little bit harder at some point. We can do specifically Sasquatch, the legends, the myths, and everything behind it. We could do that later on down the road.
Oh, there's some beautiful, and this is just the Berkshires in Massachusetts. I didn't talk about the Frenchman's story up in Maine, which occurred in the 1800s, killing a man, allegedly Bigfoot. I haven't talked about any other ones, but just one town in Berkshires in Massachusetts.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
John, thank you for that wonderful piece of history.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to think that prior to America.
America.
Yeah, America.
Most of our imports
So,
come from other countries.
When we were in the Kingsland, the Queensland, and as a colony, we're the British colonies at that point.
we were the
colonies.
We're fixing to fight them and win our freedoms.
We were actually fixing
Fucking
to start
Sasquatch.
finning to get mad back then.
Fixing
We
to
weren't
fin. Yes,
we weren't
was.
actually mad yet, I don't think.
We were finna to get mad, though.
We were finna to get mad.
Finna to get mad, and we go raise a ruckus is what we just gonna do.
Raise a big ruckus.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
What did you call it? Bigfoot in the Berkshires.
Bigfoot in the Berkshires.
Hells
Yeah.
yeah. John.
I just picture him just chilling out in Candlewood, listening to the Boston Pops, doing some Star Wars, just like just throwing in the Wookiee sounds whenever they're needed.
coming into his interdimensional, creature. All right, dude. Thanks for diving deeper. Cryptid Corner. Bigfoot in the
Cryptid
Berkshires.
Corner.
Thank
Bigfoot in the
you.
Berkshires,
Thank you.
bro.
All right, guys. Well, that was the Darker Side Podcast for June 25th, 2018.
Hell yeah, guys.
Episode 18, guys. Thank you so much for coming to the Darker Side Podcast.
Thank you.
I am David Bottle. You can find me on Facebook at David Bottle. You can find my band at Frenemy, Frnemy. We got some shows coming up. We got 2 in Worcester. One we're playing with Puddle of Mud, and we are playing at the Cove in Worcester. Come watch us. It'll be a fucking good time. Rachel, what do you got?
yeah.
The Puddle Mud shows at the Palladium. Go check them
Yeah,
out.
I'm going.
playing in Worcester.
I'm fucking going.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Rachel, what do you got for deets?
I am Rachel Pottle, wife of David.
It sounds
You
so
lucky
biblical.
bastard.
Does it really?
I am
does.
Rachel, wife of David.
Yes, okay.
Hell yeah.
If you say it like that,
Daughter
could
of
you say
Eve,
it? Yes,
son
say
of
that.
Adam.
Daughter of Nancy, son of Dick.
Fuck yeah.
True story.
It is a true
My
story.
dad's name was Richard and he went by Dick.
Oh my god, you guys.
Yeah, that would be. If say that next time.
All right.
That'd be epic.
Son of, yes.
Son of Dick.
Son of Dick. You can find me
Fuck
on
yeah.
Facebook, Rachel Gordon Pottle, as well as the snappy chats there, DRP 49532.
What?
I am
Forrest.
Forrest with Forrest Films. I just signed kind of like a contract type of deal with my friend Jordan Pajot, and he's online as well on Facebook, Peloot. Jordan Pajot. He's on YouTube as well. He has a vlog. We are the podcast. We are the Darkercide Podcast. We are on Facebook, Patreon, Podbean, Google Play Music. We're on iTunes Podcast. Facebook, Instagram, and then sooner or later we're going to be on Spotify. We just got the email today that we're going to be on Spotify.
Herman.
Herman Brow. HERRMANN. GAN spells Harrigan. Never a man. So Herman Brow at the what is that thing I do? The
Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram.
IG.
On the
Send-
Insta, yo.
on the
Insta.
In the Insta. Look at my pictures. Look at my pictures and love the Men's Warehouse photographs. I just enjoy them. Back to you, David.
Thank you for coming to the Darker Side Podcast.
I have to say, Herman, that it was great playing footsie with you the whole episode.
Yeah, it was nice.
Thank you for coming to the Darker Side Podcast.
Thank you.
Podcast is the reason